So let me give you an example. Since we got married, we've not had a Christmas tree in our house. I grew up having Christmas tree in my own house. I'm going to cast my husband, right? But I didn't allow that to affect my marriage. I just understood that from his own view or his own lens, he doesn't see that very necessary. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Musings and Raws podcast. I'm happy to have you, roll with me again this week on this episode. So this episode, we're going to talk about something really interesting, something that everyone loves to talk about. It's boy and girl matter, husband and wife matter, right? We're talking about ways to deal with conflict in marriages or in relationships, right? Talk about how we should deal with conflict. I mean, people don't even talk about conflict resolution. I want to have my way. He wants to have his way. So where do we draw the line? How do we even get this done? How do we even get to the end of the matter, right? We're going to talk about different ways and things you should look out for when solving or resolving conflict in marriage, right? First of all, I want to say that you are both one, right? You have left your mother, you've left your father, and you've come together. So you are now one, right? Can two work together except they agree? So you have decided to agree. So you are now one. That's what's important, right? There is your husband, there is the wife, and then there is you both, right? So like I like to say it is there is me, there's my husband, and then there is us, right? So what we do when it comes to conflict resolution, right, is trying to make us work, right? Make the marriage work. That's what it's about. And there's something I want to even say, guys. There's hot gist. There's something that people don't really talk about, and I would just quickly touch on it, which is resolving conflict during wedding planning. All my singles, all my brides to be, a lot of times, right, when you're planning your wedding, there's usually this conflict from nowhere. I don't even understand where it comes from. Like, there's always one thing that just makes you and your husband want just fight. Either it's family issues, whether it's Ashoebi or it's food or it's decoration. There's just something that always causes, the guy or the lady, to fight or to cause like a little bit of, conflict, or, there's usually something that just causes friction, right, between both of them. And I'll give you my story. I mean, when I was getting married, something happened. There was just something that happened, and this will lead me to this conversation we are having, right? Something happened during the wedding planning. I was really angry about it. I spoke to my husband. My husband had to, my fiance at the time, right? So he had to step in, spoke to my mom and things like that, right? At the time when we're having those issues, of course, I said some things I was not happy about, I was displeased about and things like that. Apparently, I didn't know that I said some things that hurt my husband. He didn't even tell me until like years down the line, right? And I was like, what's really happening? I just noticed that there was some, like it was not open as it used to be. And that's how we started digging and digging and digging. And then realized that, when we're planning wedding, there's some things you say that hurt him. Like, hey, why you to tell me? I didn't know, I moved on, And this leads me to my first point when resolving conflict, right? You're one, like I said in the beginning. Don't say things that will hurt your partner, right? You are together for a reason. It's something you love about that partner. Don't say some loose words. Don't be rude. Don't curse. Don't diminish who they are, right? You can talk about the issue. The issue is different from the person, right? Don't say things that will hurt them and make them feel less of a person, right? I mean, let me give you this example. I heard it somewhere, right? There's a toothpaste, for example, and you're pouring the toothpaste on something. If I give you a paper and you pour the toothpaste on something and it spills, right? And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Put it back. There's no way you can put it back into the tube of the toothpaste, right? What has come out has come out. So there's really nothing you can do about it. So you need to be very mindful of what you say. You have to be respectful. Respectfully say what you want to say, right? Don't say things that will hurt your partner, because at the end of the day, it's affecting your marriage and you don't want that to affect you guys. You don't want that to affect the things that the goals you have together. You don't want it to affect the union, right? So be very mindful of things you say when you're trying to resolve conflict, when you're angry, right? Second thing I would say is, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. See, things will happen. If anyone tells me now, I mean, I've been married for 5 years. If anyone tells me now that you won't have conflict in marriage, I will tell the person and look them in the eye that you are lying, you are a liar. Things will happen, right? But you need to learn how to choose and pick your battles. you need to learn how to pick your battles. You can't just be fighting about unnecessary things or little things. Yes, you might feel, oh, it's not unnecessary, but you need to learn what is more important to you. Do you want that thing to be more important to you than your marriage, right? If there are things that are very important, you feel like you cannot let it go, then talk about it respectfully, right? Take a time where you both can have a conversation and say, you know what, I want us to talk about this XYZ thing, and address the elephant in the room. But don't unnecessarily pick on things. This actually is a lesson that I've learned. What I'm sharing with you today is not something that I've not practiced, right? For 5 years, I've learned these things over and over and over again, right? I had to understand my husband. But you're two different people. I mean, from two different backgrounds. You're coming together. You're obviously going to see things in a different way. How I see life is very different from how my husband sees life, all right? So let me give you an example. Since we got married, we've not had a Christmas tree in our house. I grew up having Christmas tree in my own house. I'm going to cast my husband, right? But I didn't allow that to affect my marriage. I just understood that from his own view or his own lens, he doesn't see that very necessary. If it was so, it's a big deal to me, I would go and buy Christmas tree and celebrate Christmas. But it's not something that I would fight over and make it a big deal, right? That's what I mean by don't make mountains over a molehill. If something that is small, pick your battles. There are other things to fight about, right? In terms of your goals and the vision for your family, right? So don't just pick unnecessary fights in your family, right? Choose your battles, choose wisely. And this brings me to understanding your partner. For my husband, he's very cool, calm. I had to learn to understand him. Now, when I say understanding your partner, I don't mean understanding in terms of, oh, let me just let things slide. What I mean by understanding your partner is understanding their temperament, understanding their how they see things, right? And be wise. Be wise as a wife or as a husband. Be wise, right? So let me give you another example. I like sharing stories. I hope you enjoy my stories, right? I had to learn. My husband is someone that will not really talk. He just feels like, let me just say the most important things, something I don't want to stress you about. But because I love to gist, and just tell me, why will I have to be asking you about your day? Just tell me everything. Me, I can come and tell you what happened, what this one happened, what. But to him, it's not really important, and I like it, right? So what did I do? I had to learn how to ask the right questions to pull it out of him. Guys, I had to learn it. In the beginning, it was a big deal. I'm like, why will I be always asking you what to say? Why must I ask before you tell me? Right? But I've accepted it. This is who he is. If I want to have a happy marriage, I can't keep complaining about it, right? So I have to learn. I had to learn to understand him and know how to navigate that thing, right? So I had to realize the kind of questions to ask my husband. I'll just say things like, so what are we doing this week? What are plans for this week? Before, I won't say anything. I'll be waiting for him to tell me. But if I don't ask him, it feels like I don't want to bother you with the things I'm thinking about. But I just say, what are plans for this week? Or what do you want to do this week? Is there anything you want to do? How about this? How about that? And then he just starts talking. I've not gotten what I want. I've gotten what I want. But I just found a different route to get it, right? So you just need to understand your partner, right? Don't just keep saying things over and over again and not intentionally work, at getting better. All right. I can't keep complaining about it and keep complaining about it. How long do I want to complain about it? I had to find a way, right, to get the result I wanted. So it's the same way with you. So if your spouse wants something and it's something that you feel like, you know what, let me just understand this person. Let me understand their love language. Let me understand what they like. Let me understand what matters to them and intentionally work towards it. Don't just keep hearing and talking about it and you're not doing anything about it, right? So that's what makes your marriage even stronger. You can go through things, but how you guys resolve it or how you come out of it is what matters. What you do with the things that are thrown at you. We say things like, when life gives us lemon, we make lemonade, right? So you can go through different tough times. You can go through different things, your marriages, in your relationship, but how you now navigate it together. Remember, you are one, right? How you want that family to be is what's really important, right? Now, this will lead me to my next point, which is that statement people say that, don't let the sun go down your anger. I have a different thought and philosophy about it, right? I don't think that it means that you can't go to bed angry or you can't go to bed not resolving something. What I mean, there's some things that take time. That's the truth. There are some conflicts that you might need to go to bed to calm down. And then when you wake up in the morning, you have a clear head, right? And you can talk about it, right? I'm of the opinion that if you're angry, don't just speak. if you're going to say some words that you're going to regret it, if you're going to say some words that would hurt you guys at the end of the day, go to bed. Right? Hey, babe, I don't think I want to talk about it right now because I'm not in the right frame of mind, or I don't think I want to talk about it right now because I'm going to say some things that will hurt you. I don't want anything to hurt you. Then you can go to bed and then you wake up refreshed. You wake up, having a clear mind, and you have your thoughts put together and you can talk about it. Right? I don't think it means that you should not go to bed angry, because trust me, there are some things in marriage, there's some conflict you're going to have in marriage that will need you to go to bed angry or unresolved, right? Maybe not angry, but unresolved. And by the time you wake up the next day, you can address those things and then get a headway from there, right? All right. So I would just say that, then lastly, your spouse is not your enemy. You're one. Your spouse is not the enemy. We have the enemy who's trying to divide you and your spouse. We have the enemy who's trying to ensure that you don't have a happy union. So your spouse is not the enemy. So you need to fix your eyes on what the real issue is. The real issue is not your spouse. You're one. So how you communicate during conflict resolution, how you talk at your spouse, the tone of voice you use, because communication, the what you say, from what I heard, is like 10% from in communication. How your body language, the tone of voice is very important, right? So your spouse is not the enemy. So you're coming together. When you're resolving conflicts, you have that back of your mind that I'm trying to save this marriage. I'm trying to save us. You're not the one I'm fighting. So you're not fighting your spouse. 1 + 1 is 1 when it comes to marriage, right? So because if you think your spouse is the enemy, you're affecting yourself, because you are there, you are one, you are in that marriage, right? So your spouse is not the enemy. That's one thing you should have at the back of your mind when addressing conflict in your marriage or in your relationship, that will help you navigate it better. Right. So in this episode, what we're trying to say is when you have conflict in marriage, or when you're trying to resolve conflict in your marriage or in your relationships, right? You need to always consider the next person. You need to always consider your partner, right? It's not a win-lose type of game. If you lose because you're a teammate, you're one, right? If it's about I'm right, you're wrong, you're still losing because it's your marriage. You're still losing, right? So it's about us as a family, us as partners, us as one, right? How do we navigate this to make us better? That's the goal. And that's how we resolve conflict in marriage, so that we don't tear ourselves apart. We don't carry burdens. We don't carry hurts. You're not bringing the past, into every time you have an argument, and then you just keep trying to resolve something, one thing or the other. No, it's one. We are one. How do we move past this to make us a better family? If you have children, remember your kids are watching, right? What legacy, what are you passing down to your children? What do you want them to see, right, with their parents, right? So you need to realize that this is our marriage, and whatever conflicts we face, whatever, challenges we face, we're going to work together as one to resolve it, to be a better family. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something. So whatever you learned, please, I want to see it in the comment sections. Please just drop a comment what you learned, share it to your friends, your family, put it on your Instagram, your WhatsApp status, put it everywhere. Let more people come watch and learn as well. I remain your amazing host, Jumoke Shotonwa, on Musings and Words. Thank you. See you in the next episode. Bye.